Hello and welcome to our special show, Myopia Control for Ayushman Bharat. I'm Priyanshi Sharma. On World Sight Day, this show will highlight the alarming rise in myopia cases among children in India. Myopia is defined as the condition in which close objects appear clearly, but far ones don't. As you can see with the glasses I'm wearing, even I have that condition. It stands as the leading cause of visual disability in both children and adults, yet it often goes undetected. Currently, over 450 million individuals in India require corrective eyewear. Myopia has become a major public health problem. Globally, you might be shocked to know that uncorrected poor vision impacts 1 in 3 people around the world. A study conducted by the National Institute of Health in the year 2022 predicts that up to 50% of the world population will be myopic by the year 2050. So amid this, let's take a closer look at the growing problem of myopia that affects not just the older generation, but the young children in India. On this special show, Myopia Control for Ayushman Bharat. Joining us on the show today, the Honorable Chief Minister of Goa, Dr. Pramod Sawant. We also have in the studio, Dr. Pramila Gupta, the former Additional Director General of Health Services, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. In the studio, we also have with us Dr. Pradeep Sharma, the pediatric ophthalmologist and neuro-ophthalmologist at the Center for Sight, formerly the Professor in Ophthalmic Sciences at AIIMS. We also have Narasimhan Narayanan, the President of Exotica, South Asia. And we'll also be joined later in the show by Professor S.P. Baghel, the Minister of State, Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. My first question to you, Dr. Pradeep Sharma. Myopia as a condition can develop in childhood and potentially lead to more complicated issues in adulthood as well. Post-COVID-19, I'm hearing a statistic of almost 1 in 4 children suffering myopia. So how does this compare to the global data for myopia?
Myopia, as you have said, is a global epidemic which is coming, and it has become worsened over the last few years as we have seen in the data that it has been on the rise. Earlier, it was mostly limited to the Eastern and Southeast Asian nations of the globe. It was about 20% in our country and less so in the Western countries. But now we have seen that there is a rise over the past few decades, and it is projected that by 2050 we may have 50% of the global population affected by myopia. So that's a very alarming thing, particularly because there can be side effects of myopia, as we may say, that may be disturbing the different functions of vision. It may be like cataract and glaucoma, which may be increased to about 20% if myopia keeps rising that way. Myopic maculopathy, which can affect the vision very seriously, is also on the rise, maybe around 40% times. So we need to be on the guard as early as possible. So what you have said is right, that 1/4 of the population at the moment, and now maybe 50% of the population by 2050.
Those statistics are really alarming, and it just highlights how this problem needs to be prioritized. And my next question to you, Dr. Pradeep Sharma, again, if you could tell us, what are the reasons for the increasing prevalence of myopia among children? So while we've discussed what myopia is, tell us what are the symptoms parents should watch out for to detect myopia in their children, and what are the consequences of untreated myopia?
So as you can see that myopic children mostly will be moving closer to the TV to watch TV, for example. They may have difficulty in seeing far objects, so they may try to squint or squeeze their eyes to see a little better. They may have headaches, eye strain, and because they'll keep on rubbing their eyes, often they may also have eye infections more often than the other children. It's also important that we take care of these, because nowadays, as we are seeing, they are more and more confined inside the house, less of outdoor activity, which is worsening the problem over the years.
Those symptoms are very important to point out for early detection and to get help on time. And Mr. Sawant, my next question to you. What really inspired the government to launch Vision for All Goa and to work with teachers in schools?
We are doing the Vision for All for the general public, and afterwards I had seen that so many students have having the vision problem at all, so that we have decided to do the Vision for All program for the students specially, along with the SLR Exotica Foundation and Prasad Netralay, and with the Directorate of Education teachers. We did the training first of all for all the teachers we had given a training to do the basic screening of the students at basic level. So almost more than 2,50,000 of the students from the Goa, from the first standard to the 12th standard, we have screened and we have shortlisted approximately the 33,000 of the students for they having the minor error in a vision, either in the short sightedness, otherwise for the reading problems, otherwise for the tearing. So many problems were there. And now, along with the help of the Prasad Netralaya and SLR Luxottica Foundation, we are doing the thorough testing and we are giving the free of cost the spectacles for the students with the help of the SLR Luxottica Foundation and our partner is in Prasad Netralaya. So definitely it helps to rule out any blindness in the state of Goa.
What has been the impact of this initiative so far? And what are the future aspirations of this program and partnership?
So definitely for these programs, all the teachers and parents have appreciated the government. So the screening of the students at the initial level, we got whatever the minor error in the vision, we got to diagnose, we got to identify it, and we have corrected it. And especially when we had given the free of cost spectacles to them, and few students required the corrective measures by doing something the medicinally or by surgically that also we are doing the free of cost for the students. So definitely, so this is a good impact that among the society, the government of Goa is taking care of the vision of all the students in the state. Definitely in future, we are thinking that at the start of the academic year, every year, the teachers will screen the students and they'll shortlist if any error in the vision of the student and the further whatever the treatment required that we can do through the government, otherwise with our co-partners.
Dr. Pramod Sawant, thanks very much for joining us on NDTV for this very special discussion. Moving on with the discussion, we have Mr. Narayanan with us as well. And Mr. Narayanan, I want to ask you, what is the One Sight Essilor Luxottica Foundation? Tell us about that.
Thanks, Priyanshi, for having me here. One Sight Essilor Luxottica Foundation is the charitable arm of our company, Essilor Luxottica. Dr. Pradeep Sharma mentioned about the significant problem which we have globally. The mission of the One Sight Essilor Luxottica Foundation is the elimination of uncorrected vision, meaning people who need access to an eye correction will get it. Our data shows there are close to 2.5 billion people globally who don't have access to eye care. And we want to be the catalyst to work with governments, to work with global organizations like WHO to ensure that this is eliminated in one generation by 2050. In addition, what we've done is we've created 26,000 vision access points globally. What this means is we have trained people into entrepreneurs, helping them to do basic refraction and giving them a kit to serve in places like villages and small towns where people don't have access to going for an eye check or getting their correction. And this 26,000 access points have now given a reach to 650 million people globally. And 65 million people now have used this facility. And of the 26,000 people who have now become entrepreneurs earning a livelihood, 10,000 people have been trained in India. And in addition, in India, since inception, our foundation has screened 6 million people and given spectacles to 1.5 million people.
That sounds great. And we've highlighted the importance of this issue and we've highlighted why this needs to be prioritized because more often than not, eye care gets neglected. So Mr. Narayanan, I want to come to you on this question as well. Could you share a few success stories from One Sight?
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, we heard the Honorable Chief Minister speak about his Vision for All initiative. We've partnered with the government of Goa to train the teachers to do a basic eye check for children and then move the children out for better care once they find a basic problem. And this has been a big success. We have now replicated this in Madhya Pradesh and as well as in Karnataka. The second is if you want to make an impact, you need to get some brand ambassadors, right? So we have partnered with Rohit Sharma as an example, the captain of the Indian cricket team, and we did a complete screening and with several children from government schools in Gurgaon recently, where he emphasized the need for eye health and also remove the stigma of wearing spectacle lenses. And this was a partnership together with Oakley, which is a partner of the foundation. And finally, we partnered, for example, with the governments of Odisha or Telangana, where I mentioned to the 10,000 entrepreneurs we created in India. Some of them helped them to do eye screening in the public health centers. And annually, it's around 100,000 people which are being corrected or screened.
We hope the program keeps on helping more and more people. And I want to come to you, Dr. Pramila, next. What role does the public-private partnership play in expanding access to eye health services to a broader segment of the population?
See, in the National Program for Control of Blindness, the partnership with NGOs has been a prominent feature since the very inception of the program. And this public-private partnership helps in, first of all, the clinical checkups of like screening of school children, cataract surgeries being done. Secondly, they play an important role in providing trainings for our eye health personnel like ophthalmologists, the optometrist and the ophthalmic assistants and nurses. And thirdly, in the public-private partnership, we do research along with the private people, the NGOs, and this can help in coming up with newer modalities, newer advocacies for the policy changes. So this is one of the very important aspects. Like in myopia, the newer techniques are coming on how to prevent myopia or how to at least not let it progress. So all this has come through research work with various NGOs and public-private partnerships.
Right. That's very interesting, Dr. Pramila Gupta. And this has been a truly insightful conversation till now, but we'll pause for a very short break. We'll be back with this very important discussion on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to our special show, Myopia Control for Ayushman Bharat. We are joined with us on the show, the Minister of State in the Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Professor S.B. Baghel. Thanks very much, Mr. Baghel, for joining us. Now, my question to you is, what are the measures that you and the ministry have taken to create better and large-scale awareness on the importance of eye health?
हमने आयुष्मान जो योजना रखी है, जैसे ये डायबिटीज़, रेटिनोपैथी की स्क्रीनिंग इसमें हमने शामिल कर ली है। मोतियाबिंद के ऑपरेशन आयुष्मान कार्ड में निहित हो गए हैं। ग्लूकोमा जो काला पानी है उसमें आयुष्मान से इलाज हो सकता है। भेंगापन जो है उसका भी ऑपरेशन आयुष्मान में कवर हो रहा है। पीडियाट्रिक लेंसेक्टमी जो है वो भी इसमें हो रही है। बाइट्रैक्टमी जो एक बीमारी है वो भी कवर हो रहा है। माने आँख संबंधी सभी रोगों को लगभग कवर किया गया है। आइरिस प्रोलैप्स का इलाज आयुष्मान में हो पा रहा है। शिशुओं में ख़ासतौर से जो काले पानी की सर्जरी है तो नहीं करा पाते थे लोग, गरीब लोग, तो वो आयुष्मान में है। और काला पानी की स्क्रीनिंग पता ही नहीं चल पाता था लोगों को और वो धीरे धीरे अंधे हो जाते थे, तो वो स्क्रीनिंग भी आयुष्मान कार्ड धारक जो है, इसका मतलब 25 करोड़ लोग इस देश में अभी तक 25 करोड़ कार्ड हम आज सुबह तक बना चुके हैं। 67,000 करोड़ पैसा निर्गत कर चुके हैं और 5.5 करोड़ लोग आयुष्मान की योजना का लाभ लेने के लिए अस्पतालों में भर्ती हो चुके हैं।
Right. Thanks very much, Professor Baghel, for joining us. My next question to you, Dr. Pradeep Sharma. What can parents do to help to prevent or manage myopia in their children? So you mentioned earlier that several options can be used to manage pediatric myopia. So could you help us understand these? Could you elaborate on these?
So that's right, that myopia is certain thing which some factors we cannot control. Like parents who have myopia, they are more likely to be having children who have myopia. So they will be on the more alert to get their children screened much earlier. That's one thing. The second thing is that if you're born in a country like Southeast Asian, there is much more highly likelihood of myopia being there, 80 to 90%. So that's another thing which you can't change. But things which you can change is early detection by going to an ophthalmologist in time and an annual checkup for a child to see that the myopia is corrected in time, because under correction of myopia also leads to a faster progression of myopia. So that is something which is within your control. Second thing, we would like to encourage outdoor activity by the children. It is known that at least 2 hours of daylight activity. I am saying daylight, that means if you play badminton at night time, it doesn't help. So it has to be daylight activity of 2 hours a day or 14 hours in a week, which is supposed to be very protective. Too much of smartphone activity or near work is actually counterproductive, so that should be limited to the least required as for studies maybe. In addition, what we can do is that there are some special medicines which are available nowadays, the low dose atropine which can be used, and there are some special lenses or spectacles which are innovative techniques by which there is progression of myopia is retarded.
The smartphone advice you mentioned should be adopted by all of us with our long hours on desks and screens. Thanks very much for that. And Mr. Narayanan, I want to ask you this. So can you share the kind of insights that lead to the creation of myopia control lens and the lens itself?
Absolutely. The myopia control lenses which Dr. Pradeep Sharma mentioned is called Stellest. Now, as he mentioned, in India as well, 1 in 4 children in urban centers have myopia, and a significant percentage, a good percentage of them have high myopia. And this is expected to worsen to 1 in 2 children by 2050. Now, at SLO, we have over 30 years of research in myopia control, and coming out of that research is the Stellest lens. Now, the Stellest lens has a technology called HALT, H-A-L-T, HALT. This not only corrects the myopia issue, the immediate issue of myopia, so the kids can see better, but it also slows down the progression of myopia over time. Dr. Pradeep Sharma mentioned earlier that if you don't slow down the progression, as the kids grow in age, the complications can be significant. So we did a trial, a 2-year trial, and the study is very, very encouraging. Kids who wore at least 12 hours a day these SLO Stellest lenses, it slowed down the progression by 67%. The second is, after 1 year of the trial, 9 out of the 10 children who wore the SLO Stellest lenses, the rate of change of eye elongation, when the eye elongates is when the myopia power increases. The rate of change of the eye elongation was equal to or better than children who did not have myopia problem. And this lens is now available since late last year in India.
That's very interesting. We also want to just, as we come to an end of this show, Mr. Narayanan, I just want to ask you that what is the message that you would like to leave? Of course, we've spoken about the lens, but at the end, what's the message you would want to leave?
80% of the learning of an individual comes through vision, 80%, which makes vision that much more important. And when you look at it, a child, as they progress to adulthood, have various stages in their life. And vision plays a significant, important part in how they evolve and come to their full potential in life as they become adults. But unfortunately, if you take, for example, adults as well, there's increasing awareness of annual health checkup. But how many people go and check their eyes? And kids, you don't even do an annual health checkup because they're too young. So, as Dr. Pradeep Sharma mentioned, the periodic checkup of eye is very, very important. Data tells us that the impact of myopia across the board globally from lost productivity is close to $250 billion. Our foundation, OneSight SLO Exotica Foundation, the mission of eliminating uncorrected vision continues. We will do our best to make it happen. On the other side, the commercial arm, which is SLO Exotica, will continue to bring the innovations to the table, like the Stellest lenses forward to help people. The overall mission of our company is to make people see more and be more. And we at SLO Exotica, every one of us live that mission every day.
Those are very important points made, Mr. Narayanan. Thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on the show. And I hope that all our viewers prioritize eye care more after watching this show. And I hope that all of you have a clear vision in discovering eye problems in time and getting the right help to maintain a healthy vision. Thanks very much for watching. Goodbye.